Good morning. We will pay attention on the effect of debtors allowance will have on cost of sales when a mistake was made on the invoice. Any deduction on the account of a debtor is recorded in the debtors allowances journal. When the accounts of debtors are reduced, you must determine if it will have an effect on the cost of sales. So it depends on the type of transaction where you give a discount, whether it will have an effect on cost of sales. The only exception is when the debtor pays his account and discount is allowed for prompt settlement, that you will not record it in the debtors allowances journal, but in the cash receipts journal. Any other transaction where you will reduce the debt of a debtor will be recorded in the debtors allowances journal. Flour traders sold goods to P. Low for 3,000 rand. P. Low notified flour traders that the invoice was overcast with 100 rand. The entity maintains a profit of 25% on cost price. This entry will have an effect on cost of sales because the total sales price on the invoice was used to determine the cost price. So if the invoice price was overcast with 100, the cost price will also be overcast. The expense, cost of sales, will have to be reduced because the cost of sales amount was incorrectly calculated on the higher amount of 100 rand. 2 double entries will be completed. Increase the debtors control account with the incorrect sales of 3,000 and credit the sales account with 3,000, because when this transaction was recorded, you didn't know of the overcast, so the total 3,000 will be recorded. Reduce the inventory account and the cost of sales account with a cost price of 2,400. The debtors control account is debited with the 3,000 to increase the asset on the debit side. Sales account is credited with 3,000 to increase the income on the credit side. The cost of sales on this 3,000 was 2,400, so the expense for cost of sales is increased on the debit side with 2,400, and the inventory account reduced the total inventory with 2,400 on the credit side. For the correction of the error, 2 double entries must be completed. So to reduce the debtors control account with a total amount of 100 that was overcast, and debit the debtors allowances to reduce the income out of the sales transaction. Increase the inventory account and reduce the cost of sales account with the cost price of 80. Because these transactions were erroneously recorded with 80 rand too much. The debtors control is decreased on the credit side with 100 rand to reduce the debt. Debtors allowances is increased on the debit side with 100 rand to reduce the sales amount to the correct sales amount of 2,900. Cost of sales is credited to reduce the expense of cost of sales, and inventory is debited to decrease the inventory amount that was taken out 2,400 because it was too high. In the accounting equation, debtors control will increase the assets with 3,000. Sales will increase income and profits with 3,000. Cost of sales will increase on the debit side, but it is expense that will decrease the profit, so equity will decrease with 2,400. Inventory on the credit side decreases assets with 2,400. For the correction of the error, the debtors allowances will be debited to decrease the profits with 100 rand. Debtors control account is credited to reduce assets with 100 rand. This is recorded in the debtors allowances journal and a credit note is issued. The inventory will increase on the debit side with 80 the expense for cost of sales will decrease on the credit side, and when we decrease the expense, the profit will increase and the equity will increase. When the account of a debtor decreases, the debtor's allowances is debited and the debtor's control is credited to reduce the debt. Determine if this debtor's allowances will have an effect on cost of sales. If it reduces the cost of sales, then inventory will be debited and cost of sales credited.